Hello, and thanks for joining us. I'm Melody Amadi Azar, Software Product Manager for SmartLink, and I'm joined today by David Hanson, Weathermatic's Vice President of Software Engineering, who will be guiding us through a live demo of SmartLink's new mobile app in the second half of our webinar. We're both pleased and excited to share a sneak peek into SmartLink's new mobile app. Inspired by countless landscape professionals like you, we hope you'll find our new mobile app offers a fresh new look and feel, as well as an intuitive flow around the tools and functionalities that matter most to how you perform on site and with your customers. So let's jump right in. And let's start with a spoiler alert. This upcoming release offers a dynamic new way to thumb through and operate your controllers from the palm of your hand. You'll find it easier to expand your business with key new functionalities like creating a new site and controller, as well as activating air cards. Another key new business tool in the app is the possibility for adding and removing users from the site. I have to say, these were once web-only activities, essentially things you could only do from your desk, that many savvy SmartLink users requested as they navigated their growing business and a need for more on-site efficiency. So with your efficiency at the forefront of our minds, we figured, well, when you launch the app, we might as well take you to your current site, essentially whichever site is closest to your current geographic location. So just imagine it's early morning and you pull up to your customer site. Then you launch this new jazzy SmartLink app and voila, SmartLink already knows where and what you're up to. We'll show you more on that in a moment. With the SmartLink mobile app's new in-app activation feature, you'll have the ability to create a site and the option to add either a standard controller with an air card or a virtual controller where maybe later you'll incorporate an air card. Our team developed a whole new approach for adding an air card to your controller, which quite nicely involves scanning a barcode. Yes, that means the days of mistyping air card IDs are hopefully behind us all. As you're building a site, a controller, and an air card in SmartLink's new mobile app, you'll have the added option of inviting new site users or removing one or two and administering their site level access and permissions. You'll also have the ability to navigate your site related alerts and to set them to a desired notification level, such as instant or daily, or simply leave them turned off. By far, the thing we're most thrilled to share is this app's visual flair. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and so are your SmartLink sites. So now you can easily upload not only a zone photo, but a site photo as well. This makes it far easier for you and your field team members to identify and distinguish your SmartLink sites from one another while using the app. Something I alluded to a few moments ago is that a site that's closest to your current geographic location will automatically appear when you launch the SmartLink app. We call this your current site page in the app. And as convenient as that might be, our developers took that a step further. From the current site view, you will see data-driven graphics with quick insights into your controller statuses. So imagine now you can see an update with your site's local weather, run status, and any runtime history and any existing events and alerts for the site at hand. That brings me to the next point. What are all those alerts? The new mobile app gives you easy access to your controller's alert or event notifications, and you can tap on any one of them to expand upon them to see what the case may be. Then you have the option to either dismiss it or dig a bit deeper into it by clicking on the More Info button and reading into its associated knowledge-based article. Our hope here is to give you the tools and the information you need to navigate your customer site's needs. And lastly, before David's in-depth demo, no mobile app is complete without its matching Apple Watch accessory. If you didn't have a good enough reason or excuse before to buy one, maybe you do now. You can use SmartLink's accompanying watch app to run programs and zones, locate valves, yes, and stop controller options. It currently works with whatever is your deemed current site. We happen to think that the future is bright for this handy app. Okay, and now I turn this to you, David, for the live demo.
All right, cool. Thank you, Melody. So that was a pretty good kind of high-level summary of some of the improvements to this application. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through. This is a simulator that emulates the iPhone. Obviously, we're using an iPhone X here, and I'm going to show you a few of the same screens we saw in the slides that Melody had. Just kind of give you the interactive look at it and kind of the navigation flows so that you're familiar with those. Obviously, we have a nice, clean login screen here. Users can also sign up for an account now entirely through the app. That was actually something that was also not possible in the previous iteration of the application that's currently available. So now users can kind of do pretty much everything in the app that they could do before in the web application. So there's maybe a few features that are left over, but we're rapidly moving toward having the ability to do everything in the mobile app that you can do through the traditional SmartLink network web app. So as we reviewed, this is the site that came up automatically when I logged in. This is the one that's closest to me geographically based on the location services on the phone. Likewise, we get a weather report. This is just an independent weather report of our current location. This is in Cupertino. I'm using the Apple simulator, so of course they base it in California. It's going to show us just current weather for that. It's not coming from our weather stations. That's just coming from darksky.net, which is a weather service. You can see we get a little banner indicating here that we have no delay detected. If the controllers on the site were in rain delay or some other state, we would get a different view there, and it would tell us, kind of a nice visual look at the current run state of the controllers on this site. And we get our water usage down below. This is a demo one, so we don't have a whole lot of usage here, but you can see that and get a general idea of when it's been watering. And like Melody had mentioned, these little UIs for the faults and alerts are really a nice, useful thing that I think people are going to get a lot of benefit out of. So you can obviously see this site has a few different alerts on it. If you just tap this with your finger, it's going to expand and you get a little more explanation of maybe what that alert means, since some of these titles we know can be a touch ambiguous for some folks. And then you can hit this more info button, and what that's going to do is launch our support site and take you to the knowledge base article that corresponds to this this fault type. So hopefully, in the future, we will continue to expand these knowledge base articles. We're planning on hopefully having more YouTube videos and more interactive features on these articles that's going to help customers kind of self-serve in terms of resolving issues on the site and maybe reduce the burden on our support staff. And obviously, some of that trickles down to sales staff often as well. So we can just close that, and you can close these little windows as well. The rest of the app is accessed through the menu icon up here at the top left, this little stack of 3 lines. If you open that, you can see current site is where we currently are at, where we went by default when we logged in. We also get a list of sites. We can create new sites. We do preserve the launch full site button. That launches the whole traditional web application in mobile Safari or whatever your mobile browser is. Like I said, with this app, we're definitely hoping that that's not something users feel like they need to do. But we also understand that there's going to be a couple cases where maybe they want to do something through the web app that they're more familiar with, or there's 1 or 2 features that maybe aren't implemented in the mobile app, so we do try and make that easy for them. We have work mode, which is a feature we've been working on where you may notice that the app has a somewhat dark theme in the background that looks really good when you're using it indoors. Sometimes in direct sunlight, maybe not as well. So if you toggle work mode, it's going to put the app into a high contrast mode that's going to ideally make it a little easier to see in very harsh sunlight conditions. User can edit their profile, of course, their basic user information, and send feedback. That's just going to send an email to our support staff with attention to the mobile app so that they can provide any relevant feedback to help improve the experience. For now, I'm going to dive into the Your Sites page and give some. This is again basically going to be where the first page we loaded was just the site that was nearest to us. Now we're going to see all the sites that are associated with our account. As Melody had mentioned, we now have the ability to attach these photos to sites, which make it a lot more interesting to look at, and maybe help people identify sites more easily. When we're looking at this pane kind of here at the top, obviously we have the photo, we have the site information and its location, and then each controller is going to have one of these gray banners below it that kind of show you a summary of it. The red icon on the left there is indicating that we have a fault present at the site. That could show green if everything was well. If it was in delay or in rain or freeze mode, it would be either blue or orange. All these color schemes match the color schemes of the badges that we use on the web application. Likewise, we have kind of a shortcut at a glance for signal strength, run status, SLW status, active sensor bypass in these sets of icons. And at the end of the show, we're going to send you some YouTube videos that kind of dive into some detail about the specifics of all of these icons and things like that. We can also tap this gear icon, which is going to take us to the site preferences page. This is where we can administer settings about this specific site. We can edit its photo, its name, address, all that kind of usual stuff. On the site users page, as Melody had mentioned, we can invite users by email, set the permissions they're allowed to have. We also see the users that are on the site. If we want to, you can swipe over here and remove users. We'll leave Matt there for now. And you can basically do all the administration on here that you are able to do through the traditional site invite feature in SmartLink web app. Likewise with the alerts, you can set notifications, whether you want them daily or instant alerts, and you can go through all the alerts and flag those on or off for your site. In addition, we can add a controller. And since I'm on the simulator, it's not going to let me use the camera here, unfortunately, but we can create a standard or virtual controller. One of the really nice features is that this ICC ID, you can type that in if you want to do that. Obviously, that's always kind of an onerous process. Those are long numbers. So on some newer air cards, expect to start seeing overlays on the air cards that have a QR code on the front of them. And if you come across one that has that QR code on it, you can hit this barcode icon. It'll pull up the camera. You can use the camera on the phone to scan the QR code, and it will just activate without you having to type anything else in. The existing air cards have their ICC ID on the side. A lot of them do have a barcode as well. You can try and scan that one, and it will typically work. It's a little trickier. The reason we've got a QR codes on some of the newer overlays is that the QR code reads very well from the camera. Those barcodes on the side of the air card today, because of the way they're printed, because of the material they're on, it's a lot harder for the camera to pick it up, but it still usually is possible. It may just take a little more work than the QR code would. So I'm going to go back to our site list here, and obviously we have our controller at City Park. We have panel A, so I'm going to go ahead and click into that. And this is kind of your home base for an individual controller. So we'll have sort of the basic status information available at the top. We have a button here where we can do a fresh receive, as well as we can scroll down and we have several different options here, different buttons we can navigate, and back to our familiar event little badges there that let us see any faults that currently exist on the controller. I won't go through 100% of these. I'm going to kind of give you the idea, and I think you'll understand it. So these 6 options are our controller operations that are available to you. So for example, manual run. You'll notice in a few places we have this new interface that we call the dialer, and essentially what it does is it lets you drag this knob around and perform some different menuing actions by dragging it around and then pressing in the center of the dial and move forward. This is a really nice thing. I think when you start using this in the field, you'll appreciate the ease with which it makes possible to use one hand to operate the device. And that was kind of our goal in designing this interface. So we can hit run zone, and then that'll dive us a little deeper. And then we can pick a zone, hit OK, and then that's going to take us to our run zone screen, where we can go ahead and do kind of the operations you're used to doing, running a zone, stopping it, setting the duration. And we've got this nice visual look here. Likewise, we can run programs. Locate valve uses a very similar process to select your valve. Controller programming, same idea here. We have sort of a tree of options available, so we can go into basic settings, zone settings, programs, smart settings, or advanced. I won't dive into every single option available here, but you'll learn very quickly that we're reusing a lot of similar components. You get real familiar with the UI pretty quickly. If you dive into basic settings, for example, we can set the time and date on the controller, run status, omit times and dates, and do all these basic configurations. Event omits. Likewise, if we go into a zone, we can dive in again, then we'll pick our zone. And now we have all this information available. We have zone info with a photo. We have auto adjust settings. We've done a lot of work to try and make these settings very visual, a little more interesting, especially as we get some users who may be homeowners involved in the application. We want to make things nice and pretty, but make sure we're keeping our functionality and the efficiency of operation for our contractors who are going to be more familiar with this. So we can configure trees and all our normal auto adjust settings, maybe adjust the slope. Whenever you have a setting you're going to change, you'll notice again we use the same save button at the bottom. All of these act the same way, that you'll see it. You hit save to make sure your changes are committed to the server, and it'll save real quick. And when you get the check mark, that means that it has completed the save, and now that information is updated on the server. We also have continuation from our old app, the ability to do inspections. And I will give you a quick preview of this. I'm going to open up an inspection that I've already run before, but you can create a new one just as easily. Have the ability to set all of the basic inspection settings. We can dive into specific zones, and at those zones, we can of course run and stop the zone. We can add photos, multiple photos, as many as we want. Set all of our traditional settings here for blocked head, broken head, raised heads, all the usual suspects. Do this per zone, and of course when we're done, make sure we're going to save it. Likewise, on this zone page, we have the ability to come in. This is the same dialog we were using before, but now we're just in the inspection. If we want to adjust auto adjust settings while we're there, flow settings, zone run times, all of those are configurable from this view. And of course, we can go back and select other zones. Have the ability to add notes to an inspection, as well as if you want to go ahead from the app, you can enter email addresses and select whether you want a PDF or Excel spreadsheet, and it'll go ahead and it'll send an email with the inspection attached to whomever you would like to see it. We do have a comm log here. This is fairly Spartan. You can just see the history of commands or receives that have happened on the controller, just for reference. And kind of the cousin of the inspection, we have a simple walk site interface where you're going to be able to just see a picture of the zone, go through these zones real quickly and run them or stop them. And then you can also dive in and edit the settings on the zone from this view if you want to. So pretty basic stuff there, offers most of the functionality. I will call out here, I forgot to mention, since we did change one of our auto adjust settings, we saved it to the server when we hit OK or when we hit save, but that just persisted on SmartLink Network. Obviously, you're used to using the web app. You're probably aware now that that is saved, we still do have to transmit it to the device. So this button, this banner up here is going to make sure we're aware that we have changes that are not sent to the device yet. We can go ahead and press that to send them along their way. So I think that's probably a pretty quick summary, maybe not so quick, but at least a fairly thorough summary of the basic workflows that most people are going to have. As Melody, I think will show you, we have some YouTube videos of this as well that we are going to make available to everyone, both internally and then as the app launches, obviously to our customers as well. So if that's good with you, Melody, I'm going to go ahead and let you take back the presentation.
Okay.
And let you run with it.
Thanks, David. Just a few notes on how we're reaching out to you and other SmartLink customers. On January 23rd, a teaser email of sorts was sent out to all SmartLink users, just giving everyone a hint of what's to come. On the week of February 19th, a sneak peek email is going out, and that'll include more insight about the app. That email will actually link to a support article as well as 3 YouTube training videos I'll touch on here in a moment. When the app does go live, we'll have an announcement email ready to roll for everyone, just sharing that it's ready and available. Here's a quick view of that sneak peek email and its related support article. In that email and the article, there are links to 3 YouTube training videos that David created for us. The first of 3 videos covering our new mobile app touches on the basics. The second covers everything from creating a site to activating a SmartLink service plan in the app. And the third or final video dives into the new look and feel of the mobile app's inspection tool. Pretty handy stuff to glance through. So as we close this webinar, something I want to express to everyone is the importance of your shared questions and feedback. It's really important to us and our team members that in this evolving mobile space, we adapt and shape SmartLink's environment to meet your needs. So please, once you have this new mobile app in your hands, we hope that you'll explore it and tell us what you think. As you can see, we've even built that send back feature into the app itself, which is located on the left side main menu in the app. Thanks again for joining David and I today. And if you have any questions at all, please contact us at support@weathermatic.com. Thanks so much.